Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is: in my efforts to create wealth, is it worth watching financial news? If so, how can I use financial news to my advantage? Really good question, and a lot of people don't really ask me about that, and I'm so surprised. And I'll just start with the advantage. The advantage is the more qualified data you have, the more information you have, the better you can tailor your strategy and your planning for success. Just like anything else, right? If you're trying to create wealth, but you don't have all the data that would make you that will allow you to make the best decision, you're just planning in general and you're not planning specifically. So the importance really is to get very specific data to understand whether it matches your plan, when you have to adjust your plan, how it will affect your investments, how it will affect your business, how it will affect your borrowing, how it will affect all the things that are associated with building wealth. So the better the data you have, right, the better your planning is going to be, which means you'll probably have a better outcome. But let's just talk about that. So people say financial news, and I think most people misunderstand what financial news is because most people are looking for financial analysis, right? So when I say financial news, I'm talking about strictly the facts, not somebody's opinion, not somebody's interpretation, not somebody's prediction about what it's going to mean. People are horrible at forecasting, right? So they'll take information and depending on their biases, depending on their agenda, depending on a whole lot of other stuff, they'll take the set of facts and say, this probably means, right? And we'll come up with something and they're never held to account when it's wrong, right? And not to say they're always wrong, but I think the value of understanding the set of facts and learning how to compare it to what you're trying to accomplish specifically and learning how to make forecasts and predictions of your own is really developing the critical thinking skills that you need for long-term success as opposed to relying on someone else's interpretation of the facts. And not to say you don't listen to it, because you can compare it to what you think and say, okay, well, it's in line with what I think, or that's totally not in line, and here's my reasons why. So when I say facts, what am I talking about? I'm talking about verifiable data. I'm talking about interest rates, right? That's verifiable data. And the announcement of interest rates has an effect. So when the Federal Reserve says we're expecting to lower interest rates maybe in the next quarter, that's good predictive information that interest rates will go down and that it will affect the economy. And just something simple like that. How does interest rate, it affects the cost of borrowing. So if interest rates go down, the cost of borrowing goes down and it stimulates the economy. You'll see businesses expanding. You'll see housing sales go up. You'll see the stock market go up. You'll see the effects of a lowered interest rate and the opposite for raising or even a prediction of having to raise interest rates. And that's predictive of inflation, right? So lowering interest rates means the economy is improving and that we've hit a target of 2 to 4% inflation rate. So if you hear that there's a prediction of interest rates going down, it means the economy is improving. If you see interest rates are going up or they have gone up, that means the economy is in decline and that they're doing it to stem spending, to stem inflation, to bring it back down. So that's important because that will affect everything you do. It'll affect your spending, it'll affect your borrowing, it'll affect your investments. So that's important. Same thing when we hear about the unemployment rate. High unemployment is a sign that an economy is in decline. Vice versa, low unemployment rate means it's a sign that the economy is improving. Consumer confidence or consumer spending, we want to listen out for that. Again, those are indicators. When the economy is doing well, your investments do well. When the economy is doing well, your business will probably do well. When the economy is doing well, the value of your real estate will probably do well. And if you're an owner, then you'll be able to rent for more, right? So all these things are predictive. What else? News about new technology that's disruptive technology, like when we hear about AI, how will that affect? And that doesn't mean it's an immediate effect, but that means you can look down the line and say this is a disruptive technology. Electric vehicles could be a disruptive technology. Things in the pharmaceutical industry, like we already see Ozempic and things like that, disruptive technologies, and not necessarily where they started, because that started out a drug for diabetes control, and now it's a weight loss management drug, and that's impactful, right? That changes everything. That could be disruptive in the fitness industry, disruptive in a whole lot of industries that were targeting weight loss. What else? News about government regulations. I know in New York, even lawsuits. Airbnb gave up its lawsuit against New York State because New York State wanted to control temporary housing, the ability to rent temporary housing. So Airbnb was fighting it for about a decade and gave up the lawsuit, and it killed the whole industry of Airbnb in New York City. So you got to pay attention to that, because if you were an Airbnb host, boom, that just disrupted your whole income stream. So government regulations, whether it becomes more regulatory or freeing. What else? Taxes, right? Tax increases in certain areas will affect you. Tax decreases in other areas will affect you. So I'm talking about, again, facts that are verifiable that you should pay attention to, that will have an impact on your ability to grow or maintain wealth. And there are a whole host of other things, and you can kind of Google a list of impactful, financial news or something like that. But those are some of the main things that you should listen out for. How often should you listen to financial news? Listen, it can be as little as 10 minutes a day. It can be, 30 minutes a day. You can have notifications on your phone for very specific things, for impactful things that pop up. But again, you can use your phone, you can use apps, you can watch TV. They still have newspapers, some good sources: Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, Crain's, MarketWatch, Wall Street Journal. These are really good sources, and again, you can kind of target it so that it sends your feed just the things that are important to you. Maybe you're not into real estate, so the real estate stuff is not important to you. Maybe you don't do stocks, so maybe stock information is not important to you. You can tailor it now so that you only get the financial news that's important to what you're trying to accomplish. So if you spend 10 minutes a day, and 10 minutes is nothing. Some of you go down a rabbit hole on Instagram and TikTok for way longer than 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, maybe 30, up to 30 minutes. And the reason I say 30 minutes, because you might want to compare sources. I think that's important too. It's easy to get locked into the one that you like, right? So maybe you like Wall Street Journal, but maybe there's a different spin, a little bit different spin on MarketWatch, or there's a different spin in Yahoo Finance, or maybe a different NBC has MSNBC may have a different spin on some of these things. So I think it's important to kind of look at a variety of sources. And again, 5, 10, 15 minutes on each one. You can do it in the morning as soon as you get up. I like to do morning and evening to see what changed before the next day. So again, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, an alert here and there. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it will help you to adjust your plans in time, right? Because if there's a prediction that we're going to change interest rates, now you can start making your adjustments now before that interest rate changes and all that stuff hits. So absolutely important. Just like any mission, the more intelligence you gather ahead of the mission, the better you can plan and strategize to complete the mission. So I'd love to hear how you use financial news, how it's been helpful for you. Just place it in the comments. Let me know some of the sources you use. Maybe you have some great sources, some great apps. I'm not crazy about some of the YouTube sources because they're harder to qualify, right? So, and you can because people can say pretty much anything they want to. But there are good sources there also. I'm not on TikTok, but I hear there's some decent stuff even on TikTok. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But come on, you gotta like, subscribe. Again, that's how the algorithm works. Please like, share, subscribe. Keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.